All right. Tyrone Miller, early evening show. I have an outstanding guest. If you guys are familiar with pickleball, right? This is a new thing for me. I'm totally unfamiliar. I've seen all these. Why are what are these little tennis courts doing out there? Bang. Mark is going to tell you all about it. So give it up for Mark from House Pickleball. All right. So Mark, tell us how you. So first off, you have a pickleball company that makes paddles for pickleball.
Yep,
And
exactly.
how'd you get into it? Like, how'd you get into the whole pickleball thing? You're a young guy. I see pickleball as like old dudes hitting their thing. You know what I mean? So tell us all about it.
Exactly. The way I got into it, honestly, it was luck. It was I was working in tech sales ever since I graduated college in 2018, and I was laid off 2 years ago, 2 summers ago. So
Right.
I was looking around. I was like, what to do now? I had felt like I'd gotten a good lay of the land of like how e-commerce and marketing works because that's who I was selling to online. And so I started, I ordered some paddles from a manufacturer. I started bringing people down to the courts in West Village in New York City, setting up nets and just like being like, hey, like I'm setting up 2 courts on Sundays from noon to 2, like come through. Started taking, getting content, taking pictures, video, and just kind of rolling it into that lifestyle brand.
Love it. Love it. So where did you get that entrepreneurial spirit, man? Because you're young, man. You're not even 30 yet.
Yeah, I'm 28. It's the entrepreneurial. I can never say that word. That spirit, it's definitely in my family. It's in my blood. My family used to make pasta. That was our family business. It's my great grandfather came over from Italy by way of France, and he set up the first pasta factory in the United States. That was
Oh,
a long time ago. And so that's
yeah.
what we did for a long time. It's not the business isn't in our family anymore as of recently. So I see it as I gotta carry on that legacy of like starting a business and doing something to put us on for the next 100 years.
That's right. That's what it's all about, man. Take care of the family. But man, salute to you for the good work you're doing already, man. Because House Paddles is moving. Like I'm in Jersey. I got word. I said, oh man, and got an opportunity to interview, so it's gonna be awesome. But what? Uh, if for someone that's unfamiliar, how did pickleball like kind of start making its waves as it is right now? Like now you see it on ESPN, you see it's going global. How did that start from your point of view?
Yeah, so the sport's been around since the 1960s. It was founded in Washington. It's been played. I hear about a lot of people who played it in high school. I had never heard about it until like maybe like 2 years ago.
Right.
I think it really started to take off during the pandemic when people were socially distanced, and it was some people started setting up courts in their backyard in their driveways. And so from there, I think it really got its second wind. And then about the time that I was let go from my last company was when it really was trying to hit that inflection point because I was just reading about all the investment going into building courts, building facilities for it. So that was what kind of gave me the business idea. Like, okay, they're putting a lot of money and effort behind places for people to play. Like this is not just a passing fad. Like there's something real and
Right.
solid here. So yeah, now it's getting as you said, like there's pro leagues, like it's showing up on ESPN. When you're at a restaurant or a bar, sometimes you see it played up in that corner TV.
Right.
So yeah, I just figured like there's got to be something in from like a brand and like lifestyle point that's like more targeted towards like people like me, like my age.
Right. And late 20s, early 30s, man. Like you're looking for something. What what would be your sales pitch? Because you're formerly a sales guy. What would be your sales pitch for a person that maybe plays tennis now or is doing other sports? Why they should come over and start playing pickleball?
All right, so I'll keep it local to New York City, very hyper specific in my sales pitch.
Right.
You can fit 2 pickleball courts where you could usually fit 1 tennis court. And
Mm,
so they're smaller, which actually helps not with just spacing in a densely packed city like New York City, so it becomes more social because you can talk, you can chatter with the people while you're playing that point. Tennis,
Right.
you're about twice as far from each other. So
Right.
I would start with that on the spacing. Like, it is just a compact, convenient sport. You can set it up, the court is 44 feet by 20 feet. You can set it up in a parking lot, wherever. It's way more, portable than tennis, more accessible than tennis. And it's just what people are doing right now. Like, don't you want to come out and like join everyone else who's already playing, already having a good time? Like, there's so much momentum and energy behind it right now. Tennis, I love tennis. I grew up playing tennis. That's why I wanted to start playing pickleball, because it seemed like a way to reignite my passion for tennis.
Right.
And I think they coexist and are part of one big happy racket and paddle sports family. But pickleball is like, as you said, if you're walking the streets right now, that's what you see people playing. And it's really kind of reigniting that passion and love for paddle and racket sports.
Awesome. So tell us more about House Pickleball. Like, tell people what they can get from House Pickleball, because it's a base, not basic, but it's a broad term, House Pickleball. So you're thinking when you go on, are you buying rackets? Like, what exactly can you get? What do you guys produce? What's your specialty? All that good stuff.
For sure. So right now we just sell paddles. That's been our bread and butter over the past 2 years, is just selling paddles. You'll probably notice I'm wearing this hat. Let's settle this on the court. This is a house cap. This is one of one right now. This is just, but I'm doing some fundraising right now, doing a crowd fund to try to, invest more in the product lines to get hats, apparel, because we've got like maybe they like their paddle that they're already using. So I want to offer more products outside of just apparel, even just like events and content, and just really like build it out from there, because it's really special, like the community that we've built up so far. And so I just want to find other ways that we can engage and like get pickleball into people's hands.
Right. So your brand is it's just as social as it is product.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. Like, I put a lot into content because that's how people, in my generation these days, we want authenticity. We don't want to just be told what to buy. We want to like see the story behind it. So
Right.
I share like kind of, the ups and downs of it and like what's going on like day to day. Like, all right, like this is what I'm working on today. This is who hit us up today for a collab. Like I see that as the new way to build a brand versus just throwing a bunch of money at.
Gotcha. Look, I was one of those seconds where you throw up. I was like, all right, cool.
I cut out. I cut out a
Yeah,
little bit at the end.
for at the very end, but you were kind of like, it was all good. No worries. So like, we'll fix it in the end, because it's not like this. It hasn't been bad cutouts. It's all, everything you've saying has been on point. All good. So what's the next phase for you? Because right now, and I'll get to that last. What's the next phase for House Pickleball, and how can people be a part of it? Like, what are there leagues? Give from your experience or your knowledge information on how people can get involved. If it's one person, where could they go?
Yep. So the most immediate way to get involved is our events in New York City. So I currently host a standing game on Thursday nights from 6 to 8. I've also been doing these free pickleball sessions in collaboration with Break the Love and Blank Street Coffee.
Okay.
So those feature house paddles. I'm the head pro there. So if you come by, you can see me, and if you don't know how to play pickleball, I'll teach you. That's what I do. So that's the immediate way to get involved. And like I blast this out on social media. I have an email list that I send this to. So I'm just trying to get the word out. Like, come down to the events. Like, make it super low barrier to entry for pickleball. The longer term way to get involved with House Pickleball is through this crowd fund that we're doing. We're looking to raise $200,000, and that would ball. And so the goal
Hold on,
there.
Mark. Say that last piece again. You cut out for a second.
Yep. So the long term way to get involved with House Pickleball is to buy some equity in the company, and that's that's the goal of our crowd fund. I didn't want to just raise, money from one firm or something and like here's a bunch of money. Like I want people to feel some sense of ownership over it and be able to join us like in the community, and so that they see when we're doing well, having success down the road, they're like, oh yeah, like that's, I got a piece of that. Like I got that early because it still is very early. I'm still a one man shop, still doing everything myself, but I just see how it resonates with people so far. And I just want to, naturally as a business that spread that to more people.
Absolutely. Like and it's so for it to be such a young company, it's making strides. Cause I heard Terrence from Young Vets actually made the introduction, and I'm kind of like, in my mind, how the heck is he getting into pickleball? So explain how you're working with smaller companies to help brand themselves and also bring House Pickleball all into one.
Yeah, so Terrence, that's a great example of just why it's so much fun to be a small up and coming brand, because he just DM'd me, and that's how I make all my connections, like with like influencers or creators or other brands. Like DMs are the most powerful tool I think in the history of the world. Like you can have access to celebrities, like as long as you have a good pitch on what you want to do with them. But it's also just a great way for smaller brands to connect with each other. So yeah, Terrence of Young Vets, he DM'd me. He said, "Hey, this is what I'm doing in New Jersey with clothes." He said, "I love what you're doing with pickleball." So we spun up 10 custom paddles for Young Vets, and like helps them expand their reach, and I'm in between our brands there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what it's all about. Like, I think what you're doing is powerful just because you're giving access to a sport that a lot of people may not know about, but just may not have the access to play. Like I've never, it's not, I have tennis rackets in my garage. I don't have any pickleball ball paddles. So I'm kind of like, maybe that's something I should get on and explain how it's great for older people. Cause I'm mid 40s, man. Like, playing tennis is a little strenuous. Pickleball seems like it's something a little more my speed. So talk about the differences in the game of tennis and the differences, that apply to pickleball that don't apply to tennis.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I grew up playing tennis, always loved it. I've had to kind of go all in on pickleball the past year or two, and I played tennis a couple weeks ago with my dad. I was bad. I was bad because I'm calibrated for. I was hitting the ball at like the throat of the racket because that's where the sweet spot on the paddle would be. So I got to work on my tennis game. But yeah, I mean pickleball. It's definitely a lower impact sport, which I think is why it was adopted early on by older people, and why but I think the reason it's made that move down to like millennials and Gen Z is because of just the pure utility of the game from a physical health standpoint, from a mental health standpoint, and just like bringing people together from a community standpoint. It just works really well at all levels, and it's very like it's kind of like scalable to the level you want it. Like I play a lot with beginners because I'm teaching them. I'm bringing them into the game, into the late summer nights with like some of the more serious players. Like I got to bring 3 shirts because I'm sweating
Right.
through those first 2 shirts, and it is a workout, especially if you play singles. So it's got a little bit of something for everyone, which is what's so great about it.
Right. Explain more about that. Like, so singles, doubles, and how else does that go?
So most of the game is played in doubles, and it's the best use of court space. You get 4 people out there, 2-on-2. It's very social. Mixed doubles is very popular. At my events, I'm always trying to get the guys and girls together on a mixed doubles team, seeing what they can do, seeing if they have some chemistry on the court. If it's a good way to know if you click, if you're vibing with someone. But
Right.
singles is like it is incredible cardio because when you break up the court in 2 versus in 1, like you are moving across that court side to side. It's like very omnidirectional. So I love getting singles games in because the game it's different. It's less about you working with your partner and more about you just covering space. Because
Right.
if you get up to net and someone is sending balls at you, you got to be moving side to side and making sure you're covering that whole court. So I love playing both. Singles can be a little intense. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but I think it's an important part of the game and it makes you a better overall player if you play some singles every now and then.
Right. Right. Well, good stuff, man. So, Mark, how can people find House Pickleball? Give all your socials, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so we're on Instagram, just at House Pickleball, website www.housepickleball.com. On TikTok too as House PB. That's because I used to have a House Pickleball tag, but I forgot the password for that account early on. So we are House PB on TikTok. Yeah, that's pretty much mainly where we are right now. Yeah, just the website, and got those 2 social platforms, and that's where I'm posting content almost every day. Got new and exciting collaborations and stuff coming out. And yeah, just really trying to shape what the game and the culture around the game looks like for the younger crowd.
Right. And if someone wanted to buy a House Pickleball paddle, House Pickleball is the place to go. Housepickleball.com.
I would say so.
Yeah. Gotcha. Well, hey, Mark, you got any shout outs you want to give to your people? Anything you want to get out to the people while we have you?
I just want to give a shout out to you, Tyrone, for having me on. Terrence of Young Vets for putting me on with introducing me to you, and just shout out to the NYC pickleball community. That's what this is all about. I'm just one small part of that. It is truly such a special and vibrant. Shout out to everyone playing pickleball in New York City. It's a different kind of game out there.
Love it. Well, Mark, thank you for coming on. Everyone, House Pickleball is where he's at. Housepickleball.com. If you're looking for Mark, you can catch him on social media. If it's on TikTok, go to House PP. Correct?
PB.
I'm sorry. PP. I'm sorry. Nope, not PP. House PB. All right. So thank you, Mark. Appreciate you. And we're going back to, what am I going to say? We're going back. Let's go back in studio. There we go. I don't usually do out of like virtual stuff, so I'm kind of like, what is going to be my tagline here? All right, we're getting the recording.